are joined by Kagiso Mothibi, who's the Chief Executive Officer, MTN SA FinTech. Thank you so much for your time, Kagiso. We do appreciate it.
Thanks, Heidi.
Let's start off with MTN being known as connecting people. But now things have changed because you are also providing a service when it comes to mobile money.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, so I think in MTN's story, there has been a constant evolution in addressing customer needs. And one insight which was clearly recognized by MTN was around the fact that at the center of the customer's digital lifestyle is the mobile phone. And the mobile phone is ubiquitous, even more so than financial services. So actually adding financial services onto a mobile phone allows you to reach a lot more consumers. So that was one insight. Another insight also is just around the fact that you ultimately need to transcend just connecting customers. You need to offer them holistic solutions that actually address and allow them to lead meaningful digitally connected lives. And adding financial services, particularly digital financial services, is one of the key ways in which you do that. So it's an evolution of moving from connectivity to adding services that ultimately mean more engagement of the customer. And then also realizing that actually the mobile phone is more ubiquitous as a way of reaching consumers than anything that's out there. And given we're a mobile network, we're actually quite well placed to layer financial services, digital services, and other services. So I think that's really the, thesis or point of departure that informed our move into financial services. And when you look across the continent, across different markets, the extent to which banking penetration is low, but mobile penetration is high, we've actually found that we're able to really drive digital financial inclusion in a meaningful way. Where they're both high, you kind of have to innovate a lot more deeply around what have banks done, what can you do over and above that to actually still solve some of the pain points that customers face, but using the mobile as an interface to actually addressing customer needs.
So that was going to be the next point I wanted us to touch on. Is it's so important to have financial inclusion in this country, and MTN has clearly done this by providing the service, even for the older generation that perhaps might not be so tech savvy. What changes have you seen in terms of financial inclusion with the service that you are providing as MTN?
Yeah, so I think broadly speaking, with the advent of mobile money across the continent, we've definitely seen a rapid increase in financial inclusion, at least as it pertains to customers accessing basic financial services. So I think there's been a move, a growth certainly in that space. However, I think when you drill down into the different markets, there's still ways to go in terms of really achieving meaningful financial inclusion. So for instance, yes, we're starting to find that customers have access to bank accounts or stores of value. They're able to perform basic services like transferring funds from one person to another. But some of the more advanced and deeper financial inclusion services, right, like saving, lending, insuring, that typically would characterize a consumer that's fully included, that still hasn't actually taken effect to the fullest extent. And even just the digitization of cash. So customers rather conducting their lives fully digitally rather than relying on cash. And certainly in South Africa, when you look at our market, that journey is still taking place. So there's still a higher usage of cash. There is still what we deem thin file customers, where we're not able to understand enough about them to lend to them, even though they may be credit worthy. So as a result of that, and that's just on the consumer side, on the merchant side as well, we see the same pain points and issues rearing their head, where merchants are having to rely on cash to actually run their businesses. They're not able to access needed credit to actually keep their businesses afloat. And so all those pain points that take place in still a relatively advanced financial sector such as ours mean that there's still a lot of work to actually achieve financial inclusion. But the good news is it can still be achieved in an advanced banking sector such as ours, because if you look at Southeast Asia, where they also had a similarly advanced financial sector like ours, um, non-banks and fintechs were still able to take financial inclusion to the next level. So from an MTN perspective, we kind of see that as our role, that we're one of many players in the market that actually are on this race to taking financial inclusion from where it currently is, where there's relatively high access, but the usage levels could actually be deeper. So we're part of contributing to that solution. And yeah, we're quite excited around how that will play out.
Okay. I want us to speak about some of the innovations that maybe are on your radar today and how you believe that this is going to significantly change payments and financial inclusion perhaps over the next 5 to 10 years.
Sure. I mean, I think two shifts in the market that we are excited about. I think the advent of PayShap and the SARB assuming a significant role in the rollout of PayShap will radically shape the market, reshape the market towards digital payments. I think if we again use examples from other similar markets like India, Brazil, certainly Southeast Asia, where you've had a rail like PayShap come into the market, where the regulator has made concerted effort to push its adoption, you tend to find a lot of innovation, a lot of digitization of payments. So we're excited around the use cases that will move out of that regulatory trend. And then the other piece is just around data and the intersection between data and AI in better understanding customers. As mentioned, we tend to find that we can't include customers because actually we're not able to understand them in a way that allows us to, for instance, lend to them, insure them at the right prices, among other use cases. So with data and AI, that personalization and that ability to understand and therefore extend customers with products that actually speak to their needs, that will radically transform. So we think AI and the use cases around how it better processes data to understand customers will reshape the market and the innovations that come around that.